Welcome back to Quick Take the Lead. I'm Renita Young, and let's turn now to Washington, where a growing number of Republican senators are looking to acquit Donald Trump at his upcoming impeachment trial. So there are fears inside of the GOP that this is just a handful of Republicans voting to convict Trump would be enough to spark a third-party MAGA uprising. And joining us now to discuss where things stand is Bloomberg congressional reporter Anna Edgerton. Anna, thank you for being here. Clearly, this is not an easy vote for Republicans who want Trump gone. And some of those Republicans who say they wanted Trump gone, or convicted rather, they've started to fall back a little bit from that passion they had in the past couple of weeks. What's your read now on bipartisan support of a Trump impeachment?
Yeah, there's a pretty incredible layer of issues that Republicans are dealing with. On the one hand, very few of them are defending Trump's actual conduct on the day of January 6th when he told his supporters to fight like hell, and then they all marched down to the Capitol and stormed the gates, so to speak. So no one's really defending that conduct, but you do hear Trump's allies in Congress saying that they have a problem with the process and that they don't think it's constitutional to try a former president under a process that should be reserved in the Constitution for presidents. Now, constitutional scholars say that's not the case, that this is a process that can go ahead. So, like you said, there's the question of a third party, of Trump loyalists. Certainly primary challenges are on the minds of any Republican who's thinking about voting against Trump. But, we've seen, for example, today, Rob Portman, a Republican from Ohio, said he's not going to run again in 2022. So that frees him up to vote his conscience. And, maybe we could see some more Republicans just doing what they think is the right thing and trying to get past the consequences.
Voting their conscience, like a lot of people are saying. And you did say that Democrats, of course, they rejected the arguments of Republicans that the process would not be fair. They cited an 1876 impeachment of a secretary of war who had already resigned. But I do want to ask you quickly, how concerned are Democrats that this could actually stop a conviction of Donald Trump during this impeachment trial?
Yeah, I spoke to actually one Republican in the House who was considering strongly voting to impeach the president. Now, he ended up not voting to impeach the president because he had concerns with the process, mainly thinking that it wasn't going to result in a conviction, and that would be Trump's second acquittal. Now, as a former prosecutor, this member told me that the more time someone is acquitted, the bolder they become. So that's something that will definitely be weighing on the minds of Democrats who have chosen to go ahead with this process, that whether or not this was the right thing to do, it's probably going to result in a second acquittal for Trump. And that's going to be, something that he can show the American people as kind of a proof that he wasn't found guilty, and he'd be right.
You said the more time someone's acquitted, the bolder they become. Is this something that Republicans are banking on?
Yeah, it depends on the Republican, probably. I'm sure there are plenty of Republicans who would like to see Trump gone, and that's one of the reasons why some of them would vote to convict, because if Trump is convicted, it could be followed by another vote that would only be subject to a simple majority to bar Trump from ever running for office in the future. So, if you're a Republican who wants to run for president in 2024 yourself, or, if you just don't want his influence on the party, that could be a reason to vote to convict and then to bar him from running for office.
And I think this entire trial will show just how much of a hold he has on the Republican Party in the first place. But quickly before we go, arguments in the Senate trial will begin on February 8th. We know that both sides of the aisle pushed for this to be pushed back. But Democrats say that the extra days will allow more evidence to come out about that insurrection at the Capitol. Has more evidence come out in the last minute has more evidence come out yet?
Well, kind of related to that, we did have the New York Times reporting that Trump tried to get a loyalist installed in the Justice Department to pressure officials in Georgia to overturn election results there. So we could see more like that, but that was one of the decisions that Democrats had to make when they decided to go ahead with this process, is that they didn't take time to gather evidence. So, we'll see what comes out in the next week or two.
Okay, Anna Edgerton, thank you for your insight. We will, of course, keep you guys updated on this.
The biggest stories the moment they happen from around the globe. Subscribe to Bloomberg Quicktake now for insight in an instant.